The other day, I cried in the bathroom stalls at my job, and honestly, I've never felt better in my life. We know how life is. Things get extremely overwhelming, and that's kind of the position that I was kind of at a couple of days ago, where everything was kind of just coming up to the surface, and I was just thinking about so many different things, man. And I kind of just thought to myself, I was just like, man, like, I just want to let it out. I just want to let it out. And so I told myself, why not? So I went over to the bathroom, and I wasn't like watering up like that, like a waterfall or some shit like that, but like I was getting teary-eyed, you know what I'm saying? Like there was things there, and as I sat with my emotions, I just felt so much things just bubbling up, and like I felt like tingles throughout my body, and it just felt so good after I was done. And so the purpose why I'm telling this story is that, you know, we're not told just how much our emotions are linked to our productivity. We're not told how our self-image and the things beneath the surface tie so much to leveling up in our own life. We luckily live in a culture where, you know, self-improvement is very pushed. Mental health is very pushed, and I'm so grateful for that, right? I'm grateful it's not the fucking 1920s where the second a man starts talking about his emotions, he gets his balls chopped off or something, I don't know, or like his manhood is now being questioned, right? I'm so grateful that like we live in an era where mental health is so important, and you know, everyone wants to improve themselves and stuff like that. But with that, we get a lot of advice talking about, you know, managing our emotions. But I realized just how bad that is, because managing our emotions is just another form of controlling our emotions, and controlling is another way of just suppression. This video isn't going to be the typical do this habit, do that habit to level up in your life, unlock this one app to do this and that to level up in your life. This video isn't going to be one of those, right? I really want to get to the pinpoint of what it is that's actually going to start helping you guys start seeing more progress in your own life and leveling up to that next point, right? Because this whole video is just going to be basically a calm the fuck down, right? Calm down, look back at yourself and realize, are you still taking care of yourself and your mental health? Because like a lot of y'all have probably already clicked off the video, but for the ones who are still here, this is what's really going to help you get to that next level, because I thought that for so long, stress was a part of the process to success. I thought that, you know, I have to sacrifice parts of myself for the well-being of the business, or, you know, getting to the next level. When in reality, you need yourself for yourself. You are always going to need yourself, you know, and your mental health and your well-being to get to the next level of life and just your journey in general, right? Because I realized that large amounts of success requires large amounts of yourself. And so let's go back to emotions, right? I kind of want to talk about, you know, why does it matter and how does it actually help you get to the next level? And so I want you guys to really understand, and this is a concept that I talk about in my course much deeper, but I want you guys to understand that everything we do in life is because of emotions. Emotions run every decision in our life. Whether we think that the decision was made logically or not, emotions are always the key part of the decisions that we make. And so even the person who wakes up at 5 a.m. to get up and start working on their business, you might think on the surface that that's discipline, but it's not just discipline, right? Like that's what we see on the surface, but beneath that, there is always a want. There's always that emotional response that they get when they think about doing the certain action. Once we realize the deeper wants behind everything that we do in life, then that's a really good start to then the next steps, which is realizing that within life we hold so much stress within us, right? And we're programmed to just go, just being constantly in this type of hustle culture. But you know, we never take a time to just stop and process our emotions and process our self-care, and really asking ourselves, am I still taking care of myself? Am I still, you know, doing my routines in the morning or at nighttime to make sure that I'm gonna be at the best performance that I can be at? Because I used to be someone who used to think morning routines were, there was a time where I used to think morning routines were stupid, and you know, I used to be like, man, what's the point of that? Let's just get up and start working, right? Let's get to the main meat and bones of the day and what's actually gonna show results. I didn't realize that the whole point of like morning routines and self-care habits is to make sure that your well-being is still there. Is to make sure that, you know, you are still gonna be performing at your best performance, because again, you need yourself for yourself. You need yourself in order to get to the next levels, right? Making sure you have that mental clarity, making sure that your body is energized. Because I realized that productivity is how you feel about doing work. It's not about how much work you get done. It's literally about how you feel. Because the person who enjoys their work is the person who is going to achieve a lot more throughout their life. So again, the reason why it matters so much to taking care of ourselves is because, first of all, again, you'll enjoy the journey so much more when you take care of yourself and start to enjoy the work rather than the person who's just constantly in this grind mentality and thinking that stress is just a part of the process, and you can't have time for mental health and just shit like that. You know what I'm saying? Like, you're gonna enjoy the process a lot more, and there's going to be a lot more mental friction when it comes to actually doing the work, meaning you're going to get a lot more things done. You're going to be a lot more effective in how you do it. And again, you just understand that it's a long-term journey rather than a short-term. And then with adding on to that, you'll avoid burnout a lot less. You know what I'm saying? Burnout is something that hits all of us, right? It always hits us. It's always going to eventually get to us, especially when we have these big goals that we want to get to. And so if you're someone who is constantly, you're taking care of yourself, you're checking in with yourself, and you start to enjoy the work a lot more, you're going to avoid burnout a lot more rather than the person who's constantly just thinking that they need to go. And also making sure that you check in with yourself and processing your emotions will allow you to make better decisions in life, right? When you have a moment to pause and think about yourself and reflect, you're going to make better decisions, just not in your life, but also honestly just all areas of your life, right? Like your business, lifestyle, just things like that. And it's not going to require so much, again, energy and friction behind it. You're able to make the decisions because there's not a lot of mental fogginess up here. There's not a lot of things that are cluttering your mind. And so again, if you really want to level up to the next part of your life, you really need to understand that there are times where you genuinely need to just take care of yourself. Reflect back on your emotions. Right before I was in the bathroom, right, crying and shit like that, genuinely, bro, like I was just like, there was like a million different things I could have, there was just so much on my mind. There was so much on my mind, so much I thought I needed to get done. I would have made probably all the wrong decisions in that moment. But when I realized, dog, let me just go and sit with how I feel and just process these feelings throughout my body. After I got out the bathroom, I'm not even kidding, I felt so much better. And dog, I dead ass was like, I went from like, oh my god, like I feel so stuck, I feel like I can't do this and that. Afterwards, I felt like I could lock the fuck in just like that. Afterwards, I was like, okay, I know what I need to get done, and I know certain decisions that I need to make in my life that are probably holding me back right now. One of those decisions is dating, right? Like there's a girl I'm talking to, and beforehand, while I was just kind of sitting with all those emotions in my head, I constantly kept trying to like people please. I constantly kept trying to like say certain things and go about it a certain type of way. But after I just sat with myself and really processed everything, I came out the bathroom like, okay, I know what I need to do. I can't date right now. You know what I'm saying? Like afterwards, I had just so much clarity because I processed everything that I was feeling rather than just, just letting it sit there. And so this video, again, is just a reminder to take care of yourself, because you can go and do that one hack. You can go and do this one routine to lock in instantly. But if we are not getting to the core of who we are and the way we process things in life. And so again, this whole video is just one big reminder that you need yourself for yourself. And if you want to get to the next level in your journey, you need to learn how to just sit with yourself and making sure that you're still good, making sure you're good, bro, right? Making sure you're good, that your mental is good. And yeah, Hunnid, stay Hunnid with yourself.